Hey everybody, Jason here. I'm back. Today we're going to do a review on my TEKNO EB48.3. Let's get this thing out of the box. We'll head over to the bench and I'll show you what I've got in it for electronics. Then we'll get on with the review. Okay, I just got this TEKNO EB48.3. This is the latest version of TEKNO's E-buggy. I just got this thing in the mail, so let's go ahead and flip this thing over, break the seals in this thing, and get it out of the package. Let's unbox this thing. Let's see what we get. So it looks like there's just one seal in the front, and it looks like just one in the back. Let's see if we can get this thing off of here. I was trying to salvage the box a little bit if I could, but oh, there we go. All right, that looks legit. And all right. So got a nice little slip cover there, and then the box is printed up pretty nice. All right. There you have it. So let's, I guess let's just start top to bottom like we always do, right? Comes with a really nice molded wing and some molded washers, wheel nuts. Looks like body clips and some hardware and stuff like that. So there's the wing. Comes with oils. Looks like there's a 5,000, 450, and 400 CST, some black grease, and a tube of thread locking compound. The traditional EB48 body, kind of got that sleek lines, kind of futuristic looking. I'll probably end up running the JC body, but I know a lot of guys run and like this body. Of course, you know, this body is super narrow, which is what, you know, this buggy was really kind of a break from the norm when it came out because of the fact that it was so narrow. And then you have the other parts of the kit. You can see that it's packaged up really kind of nice and tight. It's all kind of nice and neat. Everything seems to be labeled really good. Looks like bag A, diffs. Of course, the D bag is the first bag we see. Bag C, G. So, maybe we'll tear this open in a minute. I'm gonna set this off to the side for now. And it looks like the exact same thing is going on here with the shock bags. It looks like there's the radio tray, side guards, shocks. I'll set this off to the side. Here we've got the actual chassis itself. I think it's really, really narrow compared to a lot of the other platforms. I'm going to pull this thing out of the package so you guys can kind of take a look at it. This thing feels really nice. The machining quality on it is impressive. It's got like a really nice, not just the anodizing, but the actual machining quality of the chassis is really nice. Like, you can just tell that they did a good job on this thing. So there's the chassis itself. And of course, last but not least, TEKNO decals and the manual itself. And when we do the full review, I'll show pictures of all this stuff, and we'll cover it from there. So that's it. That's what you get when you unbox a TEKNO EB48. When you unbox a TEKNO EB48.3. Okay, this is my TEKNO EB48.3. We'll pull the body clips off real quick. You can see that I use body clips, obviously, along with these snazzy little washers you can get. These are actually Traxxas washers that I just ream out real quick. And we've got the J-Concepts finisher body on here. I'm not a super big fan of the stock TEKNO body. That's just, the cab is really rounded. I really like this cab forward design. It's a little square and boxy, but it's my favorite body that's available for the car right now. But we'll go ahead and get this off. Okay, starting up front, we have an Expert SN5401. And they actually have another version of this, a metal case version, which is the SM5401. We have a TEKNO RX8 Generation 2 speed control, which has worked really well. It's pretty much my favorite 8-scale speed control. And then a TEKNO 1900 kV motor. And I have to tell you, this thing makes a ton of power. It's very quiet because of the plastic spur gear, which I'm a big fan of. And that's about it. That's what we have going on for electronics inside my EB48.3. Okay, so we got a chance to do the unboxing. I took you over the bench and I showed you exactly what was in my car. I've had really good luck with the electronics package that's in the car so far. Really happy with it. I really haven't even begun to scratch the surface on what's capable with the TEKNO RX8 Gen 2 products, but we'll save that for another video another day. Let's go ahead and talk about the build. I really had a great build with this kit. The fit and finish was just very good. The build was very organized. It was kind of like some of the other 10-scale kits that I've built from like Hot Bodies, where it's kind of like the one bag, one step type of mentality. Just the fit and the finish, the build, you know, nothing was missing. Just overall, I was really happy with the build. I just thought it was really well organized. I did run into one little snag in the back. For some reason on the inner hinge pin, it didn't want to go all the way through the arm without some bind. Now, I ended up getting the car together, and as you can see in this picture, it's free, right? It's free, the suspension's falling, and it works really good. But the hinge pin was definitely tight in the arm. Now, I've heard some rumors that TEKNO may be making some updates, and I don't know if they are or aren't, but it really doesn't make a big difference. There are really two fixes. If you really want this to be absolutely perfect when you're building the kit, you really have two options. You can A, go out and get yourself a 4mm arm reamer. I didn't have one at the time I built the kit, but I do have one now, and you can run an arm reamer through there, and that'll solve your problem. Or some of the guys on the TEKNO team, I've actually seen them actually notch the center of the rear arm on the inside. So that basically you just have the two bosses on the edges with a gap in the middle, and that's the other fix. But other than that, I would say that my build went absolutely flawlessly. I was really, really impressed with not only the quality of the components, but just the fit and finish, the instruction manual, everything. I thought the build was actually really, really good on this TEKNO car. Okay, let's talk performance. I guess let's start with jumping and landing. I feel like the car jumps well and lands amazingly well. Of course, with all the horsepower and it being four-wheel drive, under throttle and brake, the car pitches really well. I've also noticed that the cars that tend to be more narrow, like the TEKNO here, it makes it easier to roll it in the air by turning the wheels. So if you're one of those guys that really likes to whip the car or throw the car around in the air, this car, you'll have a blast jumping this car. There's no question about it. When it comes to acceleration and braking, all of these e-buggies, with them being a little bit heavier than their nitro counterpart and just being wickedly overpowered most of the time, they have a ton of traction, a ton of horsepower, and so they accelerate like bullets. And of course, they stop really well too. Now, they don't have an adjustable brake bias like they do in the nitro cars, because obviously this car is stopped right by the center diff. You know, this car is actually stopped by the motor as opposed to brake discs. But acceleration and braking are very, very good. And then when it comes down to cornering, there are basically kind of two categories of cars. There are cars that generally are a little bit more aggressive, and I would put cars like the TLR, the hot bodies, and the TEKNO in that category. And then cars are a little bit more tame right out of the box, and that's like the Mugen, the Kyosho, and the Associated. There's no question that the TEKNO is a little bit more aggressive out of the box than obviously like a Mugen or a Kyosho. But I will tell you that right out of the box, I thought the setup was really good, and I had a blast driving this thing over at Thunder Alley. We ended up taking it to Vegas, and it was a little bit harder to hang on to. And I definitely think that if you're going to take it to a higher grip track, definitely consider looking into like the Wicked Weekend setup or one of Ryan Lutz or Joe Bornhorst setups, because you're really going to need to thicken up the diff oils. The diff oils that come in the kit are really good for like a medium grip track, but for super high grip, you'll probably find that the car is just a little bit hard to hang on to. So lots of steering, car handles well, jumps and lands well, accelerates and brakes well, and just overall, I think the car has a really solid setup right out of the box. But with that said, if you're on a super high grip track, definitely look into maybe some heavier diff oils. Oh yeah, and one other thing, you know, a lot of these cars tend to shine on very specific surfaces. I think that like the Kyosho and the Mugen cars, they tend to really shine on really rough tracks, which we don't see a whole heck of a lot. And then cars like the TLR and specifically the TEKNO, they really shine on some of the smoother, tighter high grip tracks, just because of the nature of their steering and how aggressive they can be. So just keep that in mind. When it comes to durability, I will tell you right now that this thing has got like battle tank status. This thing ranks right up there with the TLR and the Hot Bodies buggy. This thing is just, it's beast mode. I did some monster jumps. I overjumped some stuff. I landed it dirty. I came down on the arms. I beat on this thing pretty darn good, and it rolled away every single time undamaged. I will tell you, from time to time, I have seen people break parts on basically every single car. But on the TEKNO stuff, the only thing that I've really seen broken more than once has been a shock tower, and it's probably because the shock package is quite a bit taller on this car than some of the other cars, or basically all the other cars. But overall, I still feel like this car is super durable, and I don't think you'll ever be disappointed with the durability of the EB48.3 platform. Okay, let's talk a little bit about value. A TEKNO EB48.3 will run you about $550 at your local hobby shop. And if you've ever watched any of my videos, you know that I feel like value is really a double-edged sword. You have what comes in the box, and then kind of like the whole global experience of owning the car. The metal and plastic that come in the box, it's a great value. For $549, you're getting a lot of car. It's a great build. It's very durable. It seems to be wearing very well. And then when it comes to the global kind of the support network, there's a ton of setup sheets. More and more places seem to be carrying TEKNO. I see it in Facebook all over the world, so I can only imagine how big the distribution is getting for the product. Overall, I think that they have a very good value. Not only that, but when a car tends to be more durable, I'm personally more willing to take a risk running a car that doesn't have as much support, just because I'm less likely to break it or damage it or need a part when I'm traveling to a race. So anyways, durability, good, value, also very good. Okay, this is a new section for my review videos that I haven't done in the past. Hopefully I'll include this in some of the future videos as well. It's just features that I like. Now, if you want to just look at all the features and benefits of any of these kits that I review, you can just go to the manufacturer website and they'll be happy to list them all out. But every now and then there's kits that have things that I really like and I want to share some of those likes with you guys, and so that's what we'll do right here. The first thing I want to tell you guys about are the steering limiting screws. Now, a lot of these manufacturers, including the hot bodies cars, have a tremendous amount of steering throw, and that can make the car work really, really well on super smooth, medium to high grip surfaces indoor and stuff like that. But when it gets rough out, that can actually be a little bit of a liability, and these manufacturers have started to figure it out. And so on the TEKNO buggy, all you do, there's a little screw on the steering block, you can just add washers and you can actually reduce the mechanical travel of steering in the buggy, and I think it's just a great idea. So that's the first feature. The second feature is that it has a split center diff. There's nothing that is worse than having to rip all of the center diff out and take it all apart. It just ends up being a big ordeal to just change the center diff fluid. So I love the fact that this car has a split center diff. That's an awesome feature. And last but not least are the new shocks and shock geometry on this generation of car. You'll see that they're quite a bit bigger than any of the other cars, and they're mounted much farther out on the arm than a lot of the other cars. Now, I've been in the pits and I've seen people kind of poke fun and kind of take jabs at TEKNO for kind of doing this stuff, but here's the bottom line. TEKNO's not imitating, they're innovating, they're doing their own thing. And I'll tell you, I was at the 2016 Silver State race and I watched a lot of guys try to jump this double to a dog leg. They would try to make up time by over jumping it. And guys that had cars that looked really good at all over the track would try to do this, but they would end up having like these bad bounces, or a bounce in the rear end would come up, and that just wasn't an area that they seemed to be able to make up time. But one of the TEKNO drivers, young kid Mason Epley, his car was amazing. It looked good on the track, but when he would jump this big double, he consistently would over jump this double and flat bottom it, and he would make up ground on the guys that were obviously he was chasing. But when the car landed, it just landed really plush. So I'm not an engineer, and I'm not going to tell you I know exactly what TEKNO was trying to do, but I have asked a few questions to a few people I trust, and basically the longer shocks allow them to have more up travel and more droop while being able to move the shock contact point way out on the arm. And my guess is really what they're trying to control is piston speed and pack. So when you build this kit, you'll see that it has 4-hole shock pistons as opposed to a lot of the 8-hole or 6-hole that a lot of the other kits are using. So whatever they're doing over there at TEKNO, it seems to be working. I mean, at Silver State, Joe Bornhorst outqualified Ty Tessman in 2 out of 3 rounds in Truggy. Ryan Lutz was crushing it at Neo and has been going super fast pretty much everywhere he's going. So I'm not sure exactly what the thinking or the intent is over at TEKNO, but it seems like obviously, outside of just the 3 features I just mentioned, they're continually refining their cars to bring them up onto the fastest pace possible. So that's it. That's the 3 features I just want to share with you guys real quick. If this car really has one Achilles heel, if you ask me, it's just that there isn't a huge aftermarket following for this car. Now, in all of 8 scale, there doesn't seem to be as big of an aftermarket as there is in 10 scale. But basically, there's only a few goodies you can get for the TEKNO cars. Leadfinger, Proline, J-Concepts, and a couple other people make bodies for it. TEKNO themselves, they make like some upgraded servo horns and stuff like that, like the one that I have in my car that you saw in the video earlier when we did the overview. And they have some aluminum hubs. There really isn't a lot the car really needs. It would be nice to see maybe some carbon shock towers and things like that here in the future. But for me personally, the only thing I think I would change on my car right this very minute is I'd like to get some like really heavy duty Lunsford turnbuckles for it. Not because it needs them, not because they would be stronger, but just because it would look just a little bit cooler. So not much of an aftermarket. There's a few goodies out there, but not much. Okay, let's talk conclusion, right? Let's wrap this sucker up. Long story short, what do I think of the TEKNO EB48.3? I think it's a good car. I think it's a solid, very durable car. The guys over at TEKNO are definitely doing some innovating, and I like that. I think that the build was really, really well. It's very durable. I think it's a good value. I think you get a lot for your money. And I think the car handles pretty well right out of the box. Now, I will tell you that if it were me and I had to do it all over again, or if I was just gonna go racing, I wouldn't build the car out of the box with the kit oils. I would use aftermarket oils like I always do. I just think that you get a more consistent build experience and kind of on-track performance. I'm going to play around with it. I'm going to thicken up the diffs and take it to some high grip tracks and a few other places that I've really been wanting to do. One of my buddies was asking me if he could borrow it to drive it, and I'm going to let him borrow it and drive it. But overall, I think it's a very good car. I think that, like I said earlier, I think that each of these cars kind of tends to be at home on different types of surfaces. And I think that this particular car, with it being a little bit more narrow, I think it would be a little bit more well suited to a track that's just a little bit smoother, not super blown out. Someplace like Thunder Alley or Dialed In Raceway, which is another awesome track that I love to go run at. If you're one of the guys in the Midwest here in the United States and you run a lot of E-buggy indoor, this very well could be the king of the E-buggies. I mean, it's just a very, very good car. So overall, good build experience. Couple little glitches with the rear arm having a remit and stuff like that. Nothing major, but just good car. So I guess that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this video just as much as I enjoyed making it. Now I'll show you a few laps over here at Thunder Alley, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Little guy behind the fence in the white shirt, please do not throw rocks at the cars as they come by. Yeah, I'm talking to you up there, behind the fence in the white shirt. Okay to watch, but we don't throw things at the cars.
Not too bad, huh? I like it. Right out of the box. It has a little waggle at the back, but other than that, it's pretty darn good. I just want to say thanks again for watching my videos. I appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed this video, you'd be doing me a huge favor if you could either like, comment, or even better, subscribe. I post a lot of stuff on social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, stuff like that. So if you want to catch up with me, I'll post this stuff up for you, and you can come on over, add me as a friend, follow me on Instagram, and you'll be able to see things that just don't make it to YouTube. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.